Welcome to the workshop. My name is Lisa Kroll, and I am an NSCC English as an Additional Language Support Specialist. In this workshop, we will be talking about how to pronounce words that end with ED sounds. At the end of the workshop, there will be some resources that will help you continue to improve these skills. Let's get started. The objectives for this workshop are to identify and practice voiced and unvoiced sounds, and to investigate and practice the 3 ways ED endings are pronounced. How would you say these verbs in the past tense? Now listen to me say them. Play, played. Match, matched. Rent, rented. End, ended. Did you notice how the ED endings were pronounced differently? They all have a slightly different ending sound. Listen to the following sets of words and see if you can identify what the final ED sound is. Spotted, coated, grated, roasted, needed. Try to find a pattern or rule that explains how the final ED sound is pronounced for this Group 1 set. Rule. If a word ends in d or t, then the ED ending will sound like id. Note that this is the only ED ending that adds an extra syllable or sound to the word. Let's practice together. Verbs ending in a t or d sound will have an ending that sounds like id. We will look at some verbs that end in a t sound, and then we add the id. Started, waited, rejected, objected, existed, connected, rented, respected, expected, inspected, cheated, appreciated, repeated, speculated. Now let's try some verbs ending in a d sound with id. Needed, succeeded, decided, avoided, ended, expanded, reminded, defended, guarded, amended, pretended, winded, included, concluded. Listen to the following set of words and see if you can identify what the final sound is. Canceled, planned, surprised, changed, buzzed. Try to find a rule that explains how the final ED sound is pronounced for the Group 2 set of words. Rule. If a word ends in a voiced sound, then the ED ending will sound like d. Make sure that your vocal cords are vibrating by placing your hands on your throat. You should feel vibration when you pronounce d. Before discussing ED endings further, let's review voiced and unvoiced sounds. In the English language, some sounds are considered voiced sounds, and some are considered unvoiced sounds. Voiced sounds come from your throat. If you place your hand on your throat, you can feel your throat vibrate when you make that sound. Vibrating is like when your phone vibrates. There is some slight movement or buzzing. Some examples of voiced sounds include b, g, j, l, m, n, r, v, and z. Let's practice some voiced sounds together. Place your hand on your throat to feel the vibration and speak loudly. Don't say the name of the letter, but instead say the sound that each letter makes. For example, ba, not b. Listen to me say them. The letter B makes a B sound. The letter G makes a G sound. The letter M makes M sound. The letter V makes V sound. The letter J makes J sound. The letter L makes L sound. The letter N makes N sound. The letter R makes R sound. The letter Z makes Z sound. Finally, we will take a look at verbs ending in voiced sounds. Verbs ending in voiced sounds will have an ending that sounds like d. Here are some examples. Listen to the end sound. Robbed, scrubbed, grabbed, hugged, logged, belonged. Judged, challenged, managed, killed, pulled, traveled. Jammed, claimed, blamed, turned, warned, explained. Entered, appeared, compared, arrived, saved, observed. Raised, sneezed, teased, annoyed, played, lied. Did you hear the d sound with the ed ending? Listen to the following set of words and see if you can identify what the final sound is. Asked, jumped, stretched, laughed, rushed. Then try to find a rule that explains how the final ed sound is pronounced for the group 3 set of words. Rule: if a word ends in a voiceless sound, then the ed ending will sound like t. Make sure that your vocal cords are not vibrating by placing your hands on your throat. You shouldn't feel any vibration when you pronounce t. Unvoiced sounds come from your mouth. Your throat doesn't vibrate when you make these sounds. The effort is coming from the mouth. Some examples of unvoiced sounds are ch, sh, s, p, f, x, and k. Now let's practice some unvoiced sounds. Unvoiced sounds come from your mouth. Your throat will not vibrate when you make these sounds. Remember, don't say the name of the letter, say the sound that each letter or group of letters make. The letters CH make the ch sound. The sound is coming from your mouth. If you place your hand on your throat, you will not feel any vibration. The letters SH make a sh sound. The letter S makes a s sound. The letter P makes a p sound. The letter F makes a f sound. X makes a z or k sound sometimes, and K makes a k sound. We will now look at some examples of verbs ending in unvoiced sounds. Remember that verbs ending in unvoiced sounds will have an ending that sounds like t. Some verbs ending in a ch sound are, I will read them from top to bottom. Reached, matched, watched, touched, searched. Some verbs ending in a sh sound are rushed, brushed, crashed, pushed, crushed. Some verbs ending in a s sound are missed, guessed, forced, tossed, dressed. Some verbs ending in a p sound are stopped, topped, typed, camped, jumped. Some verbs ending in f or x sounds are fixed, taxed, laughed, relaxed, staffed. Some verbs ending in a k sound are liked, asked, worked, checked, and picked. Now let's look at ed endings. Ed endings can be pronounced in three different ways. For verbs ending in a t or d sound, notice that I said t or d and not the letters t or d. So for verbs ending with a t or d sound, these verbs will have an ed ending that sounds like id. An example of this is the verb start. The verb start ends with the t sound. Start in the past tense becomes started. For verbs ending in voiced sounds, such as b, g, l, m, r, and v, these verbs will have an ed ending that sounds like d. An example of this is the verb pull. Pull in the past tense becomes pulled. For verbs ending in unvoiced sounds, like ch, sh, s, p, and k, these verbs will have an ed ending that sounds like t. An example of this is the verb match. The verb match ends in a ch sound. Match in the past tense becomes matched. How do you pronounce the ed endings in these words? Id, d, or t? Listen. 1. Answered. 2. Needed. 3. Stopped. 4. Asked. 5. Opened. 6. Waited. 7. Showed. 8. Cleaned. 9. Cooked. 10. Decided. You can pause to check your answers if you need to. Then listen and repeat. Answered. Needed. Stopped. Asked. Opened. Waited. Showed. Cleaned. Cooked. Decided. For more practice, how do you pronounce the ed endings in these words? Id, d, or t? Read them aloud and try to pronounce the ed endings correctly. You can record yourself or have someone listen to you to check. A. Jumped. Realized. Looked. Seemed. Scrambled. Started. Stopped. Resumed. B. Reached. Pulled. Covered. Shouted. Turned. Followed. Locked. Valued. Now you can pause to check the answers. How do you pronounce the ed endings in these words? Id, d, or t? Read your part of the story aloud and try to pronounce the ed endings correctly. You can record yourself or have someone listen to you. A. The bear jumped out of its cage and into the crowd. She must have realized this was her best chance to escape. It seemed like the trainer's worst nightmare come true. He scrambled to his feet and started waving his hands and shouting to get the bear's attention. She stopped only for a moment at the sound of her trainer's cries. She quickly resumed knocking people in the crowd to the floor. Feel free to pause to check your answers. How do you pronounce the ed endings in these words, id, d, or t? Read your part of the story aloud and try to pronounce the ed endings correctly. You can record yourself or have someone listen to you. B. The trainer suddenly had an idea. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a large chocolate-covered treat, a known favorite of the bear. He shouted the bear's name once more to get its attention. She turned to face him. She saw the treat and ran towards him. He threw the treat into the cage, and the bear followed. He locked the door behind her and fell to the floor in relief. Apparently, the bear valued food more than freedom. Go ahead and check your answers. You can pause if you need to. For extra practice, you can think about what are some common verbs in your field of study or work. If they have an ed ending, are they pronounced id, t, or d? Match them to the correct category. Some examples from trades might be welded, nailed, screwed, or tightened. In culinary, it might be cooked or sliced. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this video workshop. If you have any questions, please feel free to email eal@nscc.ca. Resources. There are many available resources for NSCC students. Please take some time to explore them. Visit the NSCC EAL supports page to view the schedules for upcoming EAL workshops, conversation circles, and to book an appointment with an EAL support specialist. Use the EAL guide for additional resources to help you with your language learning. Use NSCC's writing guide for tips, advice, and information for all your writing needs. You can find all these resources and more on the EAL Supports Connect page and link on the screen. Connect is NSCC's intranet and requires your NSCCW number and login.